here, even if you are always here. Please do say hi, and if you have any questions, do ask. But yeah, like every week, I introduce myself. So hello, my name is Jovan, and I am a mindset coach. So I help entrepreneur develop or wannabe entrepreneurs develop a very strong entrepreneurial mindset so that they can achieve the business that they want. Right? And recently, I've been super busy taking up a lot of courses as well. And I have gotten a lot of credits in order to be certified as a mental health coach as well. So, woohoo! Yeah, so I focus a lot on mindset. So part of that is mental wellness, mental health. And so I coach people in that as well. Anyway, today's topic, and as you can see, I'm already wearing my uh, professor glasses, and I'm ready to go. Let's go do it. Hey, hello. Yes, before I start answering questions, Raylene Joneles is here. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for being here. It's going to be awesome. The topics that we are going to be talking about today. And of course, if you have any question, that will be good as well. We have Tuhan. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, hello. And then we have Uyen, who's always here. Hi. All right, all right. Say hi. Say hello. Say good evening. Introduce yourself to everyone here. All right, good. So we are going to be starting off with some awesome questions. With an awesome question. So, how to develop leadership skills? All right, leadership is so important in a lot of aspects in our lives, right? Whether we are talking about work, whether we are talking about family as well, and in different aspects of our lives, leadership comes up. So let's define what leadership is first, right? So, what is leadership? What is leadership to you? So, leadership is, if you think about it, and I love explaining things very simply, right? Like, I don't want to use very difficult words in order to explain stuff because it just makes it more confusing, right? So, leadership meaning leader, someone is leading, right? Someone is ahead, and then when someone is leading, then of course there's someone, or there are people who are following, right? So there's someone, or there are a group of people behind. And so a leader basically is someone that is being followed, and there are reasons why you want to follow someone, right? So it's whether you trust that person, or whether you have bought into that person's vision and dreams. And I know a lot of like a lot of people who are very very successful in what they do, and it's because they are very good leaders, right? They can inspire, and they have very good ways of organizing their thoughts and deliver them to people so that people can consume it much better. So that's what leadership actually means. And one of the things that I always share, after I learned this many years ago, I always share this, and I want to start with that, is that each and every one of you, of us, are leaders. So that is something that I think we need to recognize first, and is that you are also a leader. And when many years ago, when someone actually asked me, so Jovan, who is leading your life? Who is leading your life? And when I thought about it, of course, it initially I thought, oh, is it my boss, or is it so? But then actually, the one that is leading my life is me. So I am a leader, right? So in that sense, each and every one of us is already a leader, right? And then of course, when we grow up and then we start to have our own family and then we start to lead our family, or maybe when we start to work in a company and then a team is assigned to us, then we become a leader in the company as well. So there's then all those facets come into our life, right? Good. So now that you understand what leadership is or what is a leader, then I can answer now the question how to develop leadership skills. So leadership skills, and there's honestly there's a lot of ways to actually develop leadership skills, and I'm just going to be sharing with you a few, so that it's easier to digest one, and then even if you just try and do one of this, then you are already much better than before you listen to this YouTube live. Okay, so the first one is, and if you have been listening to me for now for weeks, you know that this is something that I love to talk about, which is self-awareness. So you develop leadership skills by becoming more self-aware and specifically understanding your own strengths and weaknesses. And if you can be more self-aware and understand your own strengths and weaknesses, then you leverage on your strengths, right? You leverage on your strengths and lead that way, because a lot of people are not self-aware. What they do is that they follow a certain kind of like format of, oh, this is how a leader should be, and what happens is it's not aligned to them, and when it's not aligned to them, then that's when the problem shows up. So you need to really understand and be self-aware about what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses, and you want to lead with your strengths, right? So that's the first one. And then the second one, to develop your leadership skills, is, and this is something that I believe as well, you model people in your life, or people that you admire, that are very good leaders. So it can be a mentor, or it can be a senior, or it can be your boss. It can be someone you just observe, right, and notice from afar. Let's say, for example, Barack Obama, right? So Barack Obama, for me, is a very good leader. And although I don't know him personally, and we haven't like interacted before, but just by observing him and learning from him how he is as a leader, then I can pick up things and model how he is as a leader, and I can use that to improve myself. Because if I like something about him, interestingly, and listen, interestingly, if you can spot a very good quality from someone else, you already have that. Listen again. So if you can spot a very good quality from someone else, you already have that. So you just need to develop it, right? So for example, Barack Obama is a very eloquent speaker, right? So as a leader, we need to be good in communicating, right? So Barack Obama is an eloquent speaker, and that's something that I really admire from him. And since I can spot it, I can see it, it means I already have it, and I just need to develop that eloquence in speaking, right? So that's kind of like one example of that. All right. So that modeling, and then how to develop leadership skills. So one is take on bigger projects. Projects that push or challenge you. If you can do that, then you are developing, and you're kind of like growing and harnessing whatever you have before, and kind of like shaking things up, and so that you can learn more, you can grow as a person when you take on bigger projects. And if you're someone who is always kind of like taking on something that is comfortable, oh, I'll just do this because I've done this before, and you'll stay stagnant. Like your growth will be like this. But if you take on bigger projects, then you push yourself, you challenge yourself, then you grow, and at the same time your leadership skills grow as well, right? And part of that is really showing up, continuously showing up, even whatever is happening in your life, you always show up. And interestingly, speaking of showing up, I haven't been like feeling 100% for the past few days. I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't have the flu. I don't know if it's a bug or something, but there are times that I will feel like my energy is really low, or I would have headaches, and it has been happening for the past few days. And so today as well, like around in the afternoon, I started feeling it. So I was like, oh, I have a YouTube live later. So I was like, okay, what can I do in order to be able to continue and do the YouTube live? And so yeah, I kind of like meditated a bit. I before this I went and rested, just lie down, just kind of like breathing, and I didn't like overuse my mind, and I started to feel much better. And so I'm here. So part of being a leader is showing up as well. So if you can show up every single time, then that's already half the battle, right? So if you show up, then possibilities will happen. Yeah. So those are the few things that I think you can take away in this question is so one is increasing your self-awareness, knowing what are your strengths and weaknesses are, so you can leverage on your strengths. And then two is modeling. Find people that you admire, that inspire you, that are very good leaders, and try and copy some of the good traits that you can see. And then three is challenge yourself by taking on bigger projects. By doing that, you grow, and then your leadership skills grow as well. All right, good. I'm seeing a lot of comments. Well done. How's that? You like that? Now tell me in the comments if you like that. All right. Where? Okay, good. Let me greet some people who are here. Say hello. Hi, Michelle. She says good evening to everyone. All right. She also said, I love the topic. Yes, I love the topic too. And I don't know if you've seen it, but I recently, I think it was 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, which is last month, I did an interview. I was interviewed by someone. Her name is Marilyn, and she's, one of the kind of like people who talks about leadership in the corporate space. And so she interviewed me about leadership as well. So if you can have a look at that, you will learn more from me as well. So Yenny is here again. Hello, guys. All right. Good. Okay. Let's answer some more questions. Okay. Some more about leadership. What qualities does a good leader require? All right. What qualities does a good leader require? Let me just drink some water. Yes. Um, of course, each leader would definitely be different as well, right? So we cannot always have the same qualities, but there's generally a few qualities that is the same for each good leaders. So one is that a good leader is definitely inspirational. So a very good leader can inspire people to actually do things and do more, you know. And I'm very fortunate that I know a few people in my community who are like that, you know, like my very good friend, and who you know inspires her, you know, fellow countrymen in Vietnam, like in hundreds of, you know, people, not just one or two, but you know, she's that influential. So she's the first person that I can think of when I think about someone who is very inspirational as well. And I used to have my ex boss and mentor as well, who is super inspirational. And then you know, like Kid K, who Douglas, who guested in one of my episodes in the past. He's also very inspirational, and he's a trainer, and he has influenced a lot of people, you know, in his work as well. So there's a lot, and I'm super grateful to be surrounded by a lot of these good leaders who can inspire people, and I model, you know, each one of them. So that's one of the qualities. So someone who is inspirational. And then another thing is, I think I mentioned this, is a good leader can communicate well. So it's, you know, we are social beings, right? So we need each other to actually accomplish bigger things in life. So you know what they say, right? Like you can do very well by yourself, but you can go very far when you're actually working with a team. And a good leader is able to, you know, organize a group of people so that they can achieve things that are much bigger than what one person can achieve. And so that's a very good quality to have if you can communicate really well. It doesn't matter whether you are, you know, you are speaking in different languages, or as long as you know you communicate something that is very clear and people can understand you, then that is the essence of it, right? That's the essence of it. And then what else? So the first one is someone who is inspirational. Then two, someone who is very good in communicating. I think another, and this may or may not be kind of like necessary, but a lot of times, a very good leader is also visionary. So a very good leader, basically, you know, dreams big. And you know, immediately I can think of Martin Luther King, who is able to, you know, dream bigger, like for the black people. And I'm sure in your culture there are many examples as well. But there are people who can visualize the future very clearly. And then, you know, the second thing that I talked about is the ability to communicate really well. Is they can paint a picture of the future very clearly, and that's a quality of a good leader as well. So if they can, you know, visualize, visionary, right? So that those are, I think those are the top three things that I can think of as having as a good leader. Another thing that I think I can add as a bonus, and this is something that is being, you know, I love Gary Vaynerchuk. And he doesn't only talk about marketing, but he also talks about um, how he is as a boss, right? And he preaches this and he teaches this to other people, is that he said, once you understand as a boss that you actually work for your employees and not the other way around. So, meaning he is the one serving his employees and not his employees serving him. And so he said the once you recognize that, once you get that, then it's game over, because your staff, your employees will follow you everywhere. So that's another bonus thing that I think you can take on. And is that a very good leader has the ability to put down themselves and serve their followers, right? And they serve their followers. So those are like amazing qualities, and I don't want to give a lot because your mind will be like, oh, which one do I do? So just those four is really, really enough, right? Good. All right. Let's see who's here. I hope those are good, very, very good answers so far. If you are liking, the session so far, the question and answers, please, do like, share, and subscribe. Let me say hi to new people who are here. The pretty Christine Kane is here. Hello, hello. Yes. Haha. Who else? Kurt Kane is also here. Hello, Kurt. He's taking a snapshot. All right. Okay, let's continue answering some of the questions. If you're here, say hi. I would love to see, feel your presence. If I can say it like that. All right. Okay, from Letty. Letty, hi Letty. What was the hardest decision you have taken as a leader? Oh, wow. A lot, actually. Because I experienced a lot of first things. Wait, let me say that correctly. I experienced a lot of first times in my life. So because I started different businesses, I started businesses by myself. I started business with my family. I started business with partners, and so I experienced a lot of first time. So I think the one of and you would think, well, I would think that the answer to this is firing people. But the first time I had to fire people, and it's actually two people, it was actually quite easy for me, and because they gave me very good reasons to fire them, and it was actually harder for my parents, but it was a family business, and so that is not the answer to that. I think the hardest decision that I had to take was to part ways with business partners. I think, yeah, business partnership is like a relationship. So it's like having a girlfriend, boyfriend, or a wife or husband, and normally the businesses that I start with people that I know, are people that I particularly know very well, right? I have very close relationship with. And so when things didn't go well for us, in terms of partnership, and so it was very, very difficult. In fact, instead of talking about it and really confronting it, the problem, it dragged longer. I think it dragged to about another year before I decided, okay, no, this one really cannot. We have to sit down and talk about it and be provocable and really say what needs to be said, so that everything is clear. But at the end of it, there were still decisions to be made, and of course, that is really the hard part. Hard part, having to really be authentic and communicate, whatever is really, really, really happening, and not just gloss over it. So yeah, I think that is the hardest decision that I had to take, as a leader, as someone who was leading the company, our team, and I couldn't like take it anymore and then move forward without talking about it. And so that's what happened. So we talked about it. Yeah. Thank you for that question, Letty. I think that's a very, very good question. So yeah. And I'm sure every leader would have their own, hard decisions that they need to take. Uh, all right. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Doom, 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 doom. Mm, ooh, this is a long one, and it's a business question. Let me hide this. Let me see. Who else? Who else is here? Say hi. Ooh, okay. Kurt. Kurt ask, is learning from other examples necessary to cultivate your own leadership style? Okay, very good question, Kurt. Okay, one, I think I mentioned this like modeling, right? Modeling is one way to develop your leadership skills, or maybe get to understand your own leadership style. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but it's a great way to do it, right? It's a great way to do it, but it's not necessarily necessary. So, which means there are other ways to find out how you can cultivate your own leadership style. So, one way is really getting feedback. So when you already have a team and you are leading them, from time to time, maybe every 3 months, or it can be even every month. It really depends on you, and ask them, so how am I, as a leader, how am I leading you all? What are the things that I'm doing right, or what are the things I'm doing wrong, or what else can I improve on? And if you can constantly reevaluate yourself, then slowly and slowly you will find that, oh, actually this is my leadership style, and this is what works. So, again, each and every person will be different, because some leaders will be like very vocal, like very commanding, and like they are like those speakers, like, follow me to the to the future. And then there will be other leaders who show it by demonstrating it. They are very good at executing. And when people see that, ooh, wow, Kirk is actually doing this, and he is doing it really, really well, and really, really good, then they start to follow you as well. Like, that's how to do it. So there are many ways of actually leading people, and by reevaluating yourself, you can find out more. So it's not really necessary from looking at other examples, but you can reevaluate yourself as well. Good. Uh-huh. Thank you for that question, Kurt. All right. So again, please do subscribe if you are new here. Okay. Okay. This is a business question, and it's a long one from Uyen. Which element do you think is the most important in business? Building system or hiring employees? Ha! This one is an easy one. This one is an easy one. So you can actually run a business without even hiring any employees. So that is, if you think about that, then you already know what the answer is. So which means the most important thing in business, well, the more important thing in business, if we compare building a system or hiring employees, it's definitely building a system, right? So when you have the system, even if you are, even if you are alone, then you can become more efficient, you can become more productive, yeah, etc., etc. And nowadays, there's so many software tools out there, like automate things. You can automate email marketing, you can automate, social media posting, you can automate a lot of things, even, connecting, you know, uh, lead generation to email marketing. You can accepting order and processing order. This can all be automated. So as long as you have a very good system, then it is possible not to hire any employees. Um, but if you don't have a very good system, but you start hiring employees, you know, then you might run into problems, and you might run into inefficiency uh, issues with your employees. And so you start off with system. And when I say it, it sounds so easy, and it can be for some people, but not everyone. Not everyone has a systematic mind, right? So if you can, seek out support so that someone can help you develop all these systems, because some people are very good at it. I know I am someone who is challenged by this, because I like doing things. I like feeling things and doing things before I see results. So systems is definitely something that I take effort in order to do, because I would rather just do things than, sit down and create systems. But there are people who are very good at it, for sure, for sure. So yeah, the answer to this is build a system. So if you can build a system first, even if it's a simple one, then you are already ahead of other people. Awesome. Hey, where are the people? Come on, say hi, 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 hi. Christine says, "No dollar sign. I want to donate. I'll just give you my bank account number. I'll just give you my bank account number, and then you can donate directly to me, or you can buy me coffee. Uh, that would be good as well. Okay. Let's answer some more questions. So thank you for being here. Please do say hi if you're new here. Right. Ooh. Okay. Hani. Hani asked, what are the 5 core values of your business? Okay. Um, let me explain first, what are values. So values are the things that are important to us, as the business owner or the founders. This is the most important thing for us. And so what we did, because there's 3 of us, and so I have 2 businesses right now. So one business is in partnership with 2 other people, and then one business is by myself. And so I'll talk about the business with partnership first. So what we did when we started that business is that we sat down and we ask each other, so what are our individual values? So, like, oh, Jovan, what's important to you about this business? And so then we listed it down. And then the next person, what is important to you about this business? Then we listed it down. And then the third person, what is important to you? So that is the main question, right? So what is important to you about this business? And then from there, from the list, then we saw some similarities, so we called that alignment, right? So we were aligned about those values. And I can clearly remember, so one of those values is helping people, and that is for the same for everyone. And then the second is integrity. So all the 3 of us have integrity. And then the third is having fun. So we all want to do business and have fun at the same time. So what did I say? Okay, so first one was helping people. Then second was integrity. Um, third is having fun, and then fourth was, ooh, I don't remember right now. Compassion. So compassion. So first, so as you can see, I'm oh, my partner's gonna like, Jovan, how come you forgot about our values? Uh, so the first one is helping people. Then second is integrity. Third is having fun. Then fourth is compassion. Compassion in a sense that we wanna operate in this world as a business wherein we we are very aware of who the people that we need to help. You know, that compassion, that kind of value. And I have to say, I don't remember the fifth one. I cannot even remember the fifth one. So that those are the four values that we have. Let's just imagine that we have four. Yeah, so those are the four values, core values that I have for the business. If I remember the fifth one, I'll try and repeat that later on. But thank you for asking that, Hani, and it made me think about it again for this business. But that's kind of like how the our process went. Is we aligned it first, and then after we saw our the same values, we listed it down, and then we asked each other what kind of values do we want to add into it. So yeah, and if any of my business partners is watching, you can actually put it here. Reveal yourself and put our values in there. Oh yeah. Oh, someone is here actually, so feel free to do that. Okay, but I'll skip to that and answer other questions first. Let me see. Let me see. Who else? Uh, Save, secure, and invest. Hi from Marymount. So Marymount is a place in Singapore. Hi. Thanks for being here. And Desmond Chong. I think I know who are the three persons are. Yeah, you, of course you know. You're one of them. Okay, very good. So do the research, Desmond, and post here the values. Okay, let me answer some of the. Oh, Letty has another question. Ah, thank you for always asking questions. Very good questions, Letty. Okay. So Letty asked, which supporting skills do you think are more important for a leader? Supporting skills. Hmm. Supporting skills. I guess when you ask supporting skills, it means it's kind of like add on to whatever I said earlier. And the thing that is coming up right now is a very good leader is also a very good learner, right? So if you are constantly developing yourself, then you stay ahead of the pack, right? So I think that is a very very good supporting skill that a leader can have, which is constantly developing yourself, learning, reading books, learning from other people, or learning from experiences. Then there's always something new that people can learn from you. So yeah, right. So that's a very good supporting skill that you can have as a leader. Thank you for asking that question, Letty. Yeah, ask some more questions. All right. Okay, from Uyen, do you have a life principle And what is it? So I have I have many life principles. I think everyone should have multiple life principles, because as human beings we are multifaceted. Like we are not one-dimensional beings. And so what do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, you take the wheel of life, right? So the wheel of life is a very simple representation of what are the specific facets of or areas of life that we have. And the wheel of life can be as simple as, maybe six facets, or maybe some wheel of life can be as many as 8 to 10. But the wheel of life can represent, for example, an area of your career, an area of your relationship, an area of your, for example, spiritual growth, an area of your personal development, an area of your what else? Health, and so forth and so on. So this wheel of life actually shows that we are really multifaceted beings, and so it's good to have multiple life principles as well. So with that, what is one or two life principles that I have? And one of them is really something that I live by, that I learned from Money and You. And ever since I learned this in 2013, it has really became a foundation. So this principle became kind of like a belief, right? So, and that is, for things to change, first I must change. So let me repeat that, and I can type it in as well. For things to change, first I must change. So that is a life principle that I have. Um, that I really, really, one thing, I fell in love with it, right? So when I really got this, that nothing is gonna change in my life until I change, and that's it. Like, there's no other explanation to it. There's no excuses. It's really up to me, right? So whatever is happening in my life right now, whatever is happening, uh, the people that I affect, that are around in my life, if I want to change something, then it must be me. I need to change, right? And that's so powerful when I really took it on and lived in that principle. And of course, sometimes I forget, and I actually, like, still don't do that from time to time. But when it becomes kind of like a principle, when it becomes kind of like a belief, you always go back to it. It becomes kind of like your foundation, where you stand. And yes, sometimes you might forget, and then when you fall into that foundation. And that's the beauty of having those kind of principles, those kind of beliefs, because when you fall, that's the thing that will catch you. And a very good example of that is, my entrepreneurship journey, or my entrepreneurial journey, is quite challenging at times, right? And there'll be times that I would really, really ask, myself, the universe, God, like, oh my God, like, what should I do? Like, I don't know what to do anymore. And it almost comes to a point where I'm giving up. And when it comes to that point, when it came to that point, that there's nothing left, then I fell back into this principle, right? Which is, for things to change, first I must change. And so that's kind of like what I do every single time, is that if I want to change anything, my environment, my results in life, whatever is happening right now, then I need to change. And that's basically it, right? So it's not about complaining, it's not about blaming other people, it's about justifying, it's just taking responsibility and changing my life. And that's kind of like, one of the biggest principle that I have took on. And then another one that is, while I'm sharing, is popping up, is actually integrity. Integrity, the full principle is, integrity is the essence of everything successful. So um, a lot of times, right? And when I talk about integrity, it's not the morality, it's not about the ethics, it's not about that. So integrity is being aligned with your thoughts, your words, and your action, in that kind of integrity. And so if I want to be successful, I need to align all these three. I need to be able to tell myself, yes, I am integrity in terms of my thoughts, my words, and my action. And so that's the second principle that I always kind of like follow. Try and always to follow, right? Yeah. All right. Hoo hoo hoo. Someone like that. Hey, yeah. All right. Thumbs up. Um, Tan Tan says hello. Hi, hi, hi. All right, good. So that was a very good question. I really felt my own passion coming up, sharing that. Okay, all right. And then ask, what is the ego? Very, very interesting question. And hmm, let me just process this question a bit. Because ego, ego is a construct. So ego is something that is created in us when we are growing up, right? So it's a program. And if you can understand that is actually something that is inside our mind, that is telling us things, because it has kind of like, it has its own system inside our mind, right? The ego will tell you, like, sometimes, right, sometimes the ego will tell you to be safe, right? Tell you things that, oh, don't do that, you know it's not for you, blah blah blah, and things like that. And its purpose is actually to keep you safe. So it's a programming that you have. Or a lot of times what ego does is trying to make you look good, right? And so a lot of people have that, right? They And nowadays in social media you can actually see that, right? So people post, like, the beautiful side of them. And no one, or very rare for people to post the bad things that is happening in life, right? Because almost everyone wants to look good. Almost everyone wants to look good, and that is ego, right? So ego is a programming that we have inside. And similarly, when we talked about mindfulness like a few weeks ago, when you start to become more mindful, when you start to become more self-aware, and you hear all these things, you will hear your ego, right? You will hear what your ego is telling you. And it manifests in different ways, right, in your life. It can be like, for example, there are what we call, I don't know if you have experienced this, but there are people who are yes men. They always say yes. Like whatever you say, they say yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh, you're right. Oh yes, yeah. And even though they don't think you're right, they would say, yes, yes, you're right. That's right. That's right. Just to please you, and so that they also look good. And that's the ego. Yeah. And the problem with ego, right? And the problem with ego is it stops you from achieving what you want in life, right? Because in order to achieve what you want in life, you really need to be fully authentic to who you are, because that's the only way you can become your best self. If you are authentic, if you get in touch to who you really are, and that's how you become better. That's how you become a better version of yourself. And the journey is actually to reach your ideal self, right? And by doing that, meaning getting rid of your ego, or not getting rid, or maybe putting it aside, then you get to understand who you are as a person. And so that's what ego does, right? But again, stepping back, understanding that ego is a program. It's a construct. It's something that is not real. Yeah, it's something that is just playing inside your head, right? So that is the ego. And when you hear it, just say hi. Hi, ego. How are you? Now that I know you, now that I notice you, I won't listen to you all the time, right? So that's what you tell the ego. Because you have to listen to your own voice, not the ego's voice. All right. Good. Tan, did you like that? I hope you like that. If you do, click like, share, and subscribe. All right, good, good, good. Any other? Let me see if there's any other interesting questions, because I only have time for one more. Um, anyone new here? Hey, what happened to Desmond? Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Is the saying "we only need to be successful once" true today? Mm, okay, in terms of let's talk about business. And honestly, right? Honestly, I was going through my entrepreneurship journey, just trying out things. And like, okay, an opportunity came. Let me do this, and okay, see what happens. It seems like a very good business. I'll have fun. I'll earn money. I'll help people. Blah blah blah. Okay, good. Oops, it didn't go well. Okay, try another one. So I was doing that, right? And then I met this entrepreneur from Philippines, and he became popular because he was the first one who did that printer that it has an ink, right? So when it prints, then the ink runs out, and then you refill the ink, right? You replenish the ink. So before, you had to buy the ink from the printers, uh, right, directly. But then the technology improved, and they were able to refill the inks on the spot. So he was the first one to actually grow that business in Philippines. And so I met him. We got to know each other. And then his story was, before he became successful in that business and became big, he had like so many shops all over Philippines, like hundreds. Before he became successful, he actually had three or four other businesses that he did in the past that totally failed. And he just kept on going and trying out new things, kept on going and trying out new things. And so at one point, his mom was asking him, hey, his name is Jerry, by the way. He's Jerry. So, Jerry, why do you keep, trying out businesses and you lose money, trying out businesses and you lose money. And shouldn't you just stop and go back to employment, right? So yeah, so he started thinking about it. Yeah, yeah. Why do I keep trying? Why do I keep trying? And then he told his mom, you know, Ma, I only need to be successful once, right? I just need to hit it one time. If I become successful in business one time, then I made it. And so when he shared that story, then I started to reflect to myself as well, like, yeah, that's true. And that's why we as entrepreneurs work very, very hard, right? Because of that one possibility. Because if one just one business blows up and becomes super successful, you're set for life. So for him, he was he managed to resign from his work. He was able to buy a lot of houses, and he became like really, really wealthy because of that business. And then later on, when it was super stable, he branched out and started different businesses afterwards, because he had a lot of resources already. And then he published a book. And of course, he became one of his kind of like business as well, the book plus courses, blah blah blah. And it's kind of like after that one successful business, it led to other things. And so as entrepreneurs, that's kind of like what we want, what we're looking for, is that, yeah, we go try and try, and once we hit that, once we become successful, and then that's it. We're set for life. And that's exactly what happened to Steve Jobs. That's exactly what happened to Elon Musk, who PayPal became big, super successful. And because of that, they sold PayPal, and he had a lot of money. And from that money, he invested it and started new companies, and he became successful, etc., etc. Right? So now he owns Tesla and a lot of other businesses as well. He's one of the richest men in the world. So that's what we only need to be successful once mean, and it's still very, very true until today. And as long as as entrepreneurs, as long as you focus on that possibility, work very hard, focus on the process, enjoy the process, and things will happen and you will be successful. Believe me, I know that, and that's what I practice as well. Awesome, awesome. I think I have time for one more question. Okay, let's go personal. Uyen ask. She has another question. Why is it so hard to be honest with myself? Okay, I think a lot of people, um, and again, this is programming, right? So a lot of us, grow up being told, like a lot of things not to do. Oh, don't do that, or mm, not being in touch with our emotions. And that's another important thing for leaders, I think, since we started off with leadership and leadership, developing leadership skills, right? So I think leaders have very good leaders should have a very good management of their psychology and their emotions. So growing up, we when especially for guys, right? I mean, at least in Asia, when we start to get emotional, start to cry, and then our parents will tell us like, "Shh, don't cry, uh, don't cry." And I mean, our parents have good intentions. They they're doing their best with whatever they know. But psychologically, that stops us from getting in touch with our own emotion. And because we start to kind of like distance ourselves from that emotion. And that's what happens when the time comes when we need to be really, really authentic and be honest with ourselves. Then it becomes very difficult, right? Because there's so many layers now. There's so many layers, so that we can protect ourselves. There's shame, there's fear, fear of judgment, all of these things. And again, ego is part of that, because ego is trying to make you look good. So a lot of those things are part of that. And this is where the real work comes in. Sometimes is not an easy path, but it is possible to get to that authentic self, to that space where you can be totally honest with yourself. Sometimes it takes longer than some other people, but sometimes it takes shorter. But then this is where I believe in personal development as well, as you know. So this is where personal development comes in. You work on yourself. You go for personal development programs, or you go for coaching, right? Or maybe even therapy, if that is something that you think that is more appropriate for you. um, but that's kind of like work that you need to put in if you feel that you are not being honest, or you're not being authentic with yourself. And and I'm telling you now, if you are experiencing this, it's okay, right? It's okay to be experiencing this, and it's okay to ask for support, right? I think for the longest time, I was also in this space wherein I I just went through life, like how I was programmed was, you go through life, have a job, have a family, buy a house, buy a car, and be happy, right? That's it. Don't look for something else. And I kind of like went through life like that, because that was my programming. And I wasn't really being honest, because I didn't know myself, right? I didn't know myself yet. And so I'm very fortunate that I went through the process myself, wherein I went through several I went through several personal development programs. I had coaching myself, uh, you know, so for many years, I worked on myself, and so that I can, be, who I am, be really authentic in front of people. The way, and I get this a lot, right? So even people who listen to my podcast, because I have a podcast, by the way, it's called The Possibility Show. And people who listen to me to podcasts, people who listen to me in videos, in social media, and then they meet me in person, then one of the things they always say, "Oh my God, you sound exactly like how I hear you." And because that's who I am. I don't have a different persona when I speak to you in video. I don't have a different persona when I do my podcast. It's just me. So I think it's important to, again, like what I said, if you want to be successful, right, and happy at the same time, is to be super authentic and honest with yourself. Uh, Good. I went over time. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much, everyone, for for still staying and listening. But I think that's a very good question, and I think this is something that goes deeply into my heart as well. If you being authentic and being honest with yourself, because oh my God, a lot of people are suffering They are in a job that they hate, right? They're in a job that they don't like, but they're still there, and it's just so sad, right? It's just so sad. Oh, anyway, I don't want to like get off in a very sad note. But there's a way to do that, right? So there is an answer to that, which is, work on yourself so that you can develop your self awareness, be more courageous, and because you deserve to have, the beautiful things in life as well. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have the job or the business that you want in life. And that's why you're here listening, right? All right. So thank you so much. So yeah, a lot of thank you, and some virtual hug from my beautiful sister. uh, yeah, I got this. And not only me, like if you are listening to this, and even after the replay, or if you listen to this in the social media, yeah, I fully believe 100%, 110, 150%, 200% that you deserve to have what you want in life, and you should definitely get it, right? You should definitely get it. All right, with that, it's 10:06. Thank you so much, everyone. And I feel so emotional right now, and you know um, I love you all. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here and supporting and listening as well. I hope I have, shared some valuable stuff. And yeah, I'll see you again next week. Right? All right. Thank you. Bye.